This patch has been one of the craziest we've seen in a while, as new junglers have started to emerge and unconventional picks are popping up all over the place. Like always, we've got you guys covered and we'll bring you completely up to speed with how the meta is shaping out midway through patch 11.8, thanks to our challenger players and the analysis of the most up-to-date stats. Gwen has hit the rift and is now available on live servers. After playing as or against Gwen for a few days, what are your initial thoughts so far? Does she seem weak, overtuned? Let us know down in the comments below. Our analysts believe Gwen's on the weaker side at the moment, but part of it is definitely due to the fact players are still figuring out how to play her. Regardless, we'd still love to hear what you guys think. So you don't miss out on any of our future content, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to get a step ahead of everyone else. And with that said, let's get into it. To begin with, we'll start by breaking down the movement in the top lane tier list, and first up, we have Mundo. The sustained buffs Mundo received this patch have been working wonders and has turned him into a legitimate force in certain matchups. He's still going to struggle into ignite top laners or bruisers who rush grievous wounds, but that's to be expected. In AP matchups or against tanks, Mundo completely rolls over them for 11.8 and has made his way into the S tier as a result. Especially for the lower elos where players purchase grievous wounds way less often, Mundo should be on your radar going forward. Safeguarding his way up to the top lane tier list for 11.8 as an unexpected riser has been Lee Sin. The buff to Lee's E has made his laning power so much stronger and gives him the ability to trade punch for punch with the top dogs. The shield and lifesteal from Lee W give him great sustain in lane and allow him to take short trades, heal up, and then rinse and repeat. Renekton is one of the few matchups Lee sees some difficulty with due to the fact Ren can bust shields and is also very strong early on, so it's a good idea to ban Renekton out. As for Lee Sin's placement on the tier list, he will be slotting into a very respectable A tier position. One top laner we need to adjust down the tier list is Yorick. We remained optimistic the damage nerfs wouldn't hurt him too bad, but unfortunately that just wasn't the case. Considering Yorick's mist walkers are such a large chunk of his damage, the nerf has seen him fall in power a good amount. We're hoping Riot decides to compensate Yorick with a buff or two in the coming patches to see him rise back up, but for now, he'll be placed in A tier. As for League's newest addition in Gwen, we have yet to form a super strong opinion on her strength as she's only been live a few days. Initial consensus is that Gwen does feel a little underpowered at the moment, but it's still early on and we'll have a much better read on her as the patch continues to progress. For now, Gwen will be placed in B tier. So if we have a look at the top lane tier list, Darius will be sliding back into OP tier as a result of Yorick moving down. Continuing to dominate the meta will be Wukong, Urgot, and Riven. Dr. Mundo has been added as a top 3 low elo top lane pick of the patch alongside Garen and Urgot. Darius, Malphite, and Urgot should be your highest priority bans for 11.8. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out our hyper improvement system at SkillCapped.com. We have professional courses by the top players, Smurf commentaries where a challenger player walks you through how to climb out of every rank from iron to diamond, and we upload tons of new exclusive guides to our website each week. In fact, we're so confident you'll improve using our system that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. What are you waiting for? Check out SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Moving on to the jungle, our analysts predicted Morgana would surface as the best jungler out of all that were buffed. We just didn't realize how broken she would be. Morgana's clear speed is out of this world fast and takes no skill at all thanks to the massive AoE damage from W. She can rip through raptors faster than any jungler in the game. Clear speeds are so important for a jungler because the less time you have to spend clearing camps, the more time you have to make plays around the map. Even though Morgana isn't the most insane 1v1 duelist, that just doesn't matter because she's on the map with a level advantage at all stages of the game. Our analysts do suspect Morgana to receive a small nerf in the next patch, so if you've considered picking her up, don't wait any longer. Morgana will be moving up from our pre-patch prediction of A tier all the way into OP. The jungler we predicted to be the second strongest out of the 5 buffed was Diana, and that's exactly where she's landed, albeit much better than expected. Like Morgana, Diana can rocket through a clear and be on the map in no time. Her early skirmish is quite good too, as players are taking Conqueror to win out on those extended fights. AP jungle diversity is at an all-time high now as Morgana, Elise, Diana, and Fiddle are all extremely strong top-tier picks. The way the meta has been trending for top and mid lane, it's especially important to have one of these junglers in your champ pool. Diana's placement on the tier list will be right alongside Morgana as an OP pick of the patch. Not only has Lee Sin seen a surge in the solo lanes, but his jungle power is really high now as well. Our analysts will go as far as saying Lee Sin is in the strongest state he's been in throughout all of Season 11. Thanks to his E buff, Lee Sin will be moving from A into S tier. Rumble in the jungle is less of a meme for 11.8 as the buff to his passive allows him to clear much better. The fact Rumble passive now deals % health damage actually makes it really strong for taking down large monsters. The attack speed you're granted when overheated helps him chug through a clear much faster as well. Gank power at level 6 is amazing with Rumble too, as his ultimate can be used from miles away to set up nice gank angles. Rumble will lock down a spot in the B tier for our jungle tier list. Nothing crazy, but a good viable option at the least. The jungle tier list is looking pretty spicy now, as we have Morgana, Diana, Elise, Hecarim, and Shaco in the OP tier. Kha'Zix will be the odd man out, moving down into S as a result of Diana and Morgana barging through. Unfortunately, Zed was the one jungler buffed who didn't really see a positive rise up the tier list, as he will remain in C. The 3 OP low elo picks of the patch include Diana, Rammus, and Morgana. Shaco, Morgana, and Hecarim will make up 3 of the best value bans. Moving on to the mid lane, Vladimir has absolutely mooned in power after the buff to his Q. We talked about how a 1-second cooldown buff would be huge for such a spammable spell you max first, and it hasn't disappointed Vlad mains in the slightest. When you look at the solo Q meta for mid lane, Vlad fits in really great right now. With Zed holding above a 10% play rate, Vlad can be used very frequently in the matchup and steal away a lot of elo. Vlad also does a great job at neutralizing picks like Yone and Yasuo, as the burst power and survivability Vlad possesses makes it very difficult for those champions to function. Skyrocketing from A into OP tier, Vlad is now the go-to premier carry in the mid lane for patch 11.8. Who would have thought Lee Sin would be a strong pick for 3 different roles in Season 11? Well, that's the case for 11.8, as Assassin Lee mid is a pick you don't want to overlook. The E buff helps him out so much in the solo lane, and his dueling power against other squishy meta mids is actually really insane. We'll go into more detail about Lee mid in our OP off meta champs video, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. A tier is where Lee finds a spot for this patch. With Vlad landing miles ahead of the competition, now we have adjusted our OP tier a little. Galio will remain OP alongside Vlad, but Anivia and Fizz will now be placed in S tier. The gap between Galio and Vlad compared to the rest of the competition is just too large now, which is why they hold down the only OP tier slots. One of the most underrated mids for this patch is Rumble, as the changes he received have turned out extremely net positive. His all-in damage is just so ridiculous and can snowball the early game out of control. Our analysts will continue monitoring him, as we may be looking to move Rumble into OP very soon. The low elo studs of the mid lane to climb out the fastest include Diana, Malzahar, and Annie. Vlad will move into a top 3 spot on the ban list for 11.8, right beside Yone and Zed. We've got a relatively quiet mid-patch update down in the bot lane. Jinx will continue to stand alone as the hardest carry freeload generator of 11.8. Below Jinx, we see a mass amount of champions in S tier. Many of these unconventional picks like Heimer, Veigar, and Karthus work so well for solo queue, yet always fly way too far under the radar. Even traditional supports like Swain and Seraphine are godlike when played in the carry role. We really thought something decent would come of the Aphelios buffs, but that just hasn't panned out at all. Aphelios continues to perform at a very underwhelming level in solo queue, so he's got his spot back in C tier for mid-patch. The godlike low elo picks at the moment include Veigar, Tristana, and Sivir. Banning out Jinx would be the highest priority if you're not looking to play her, followed by Samira and Tristana. Patch after patch, Senna slowly rises up the tier list and has made her way back into OP. The reason for Senna's resurgence is due to the evolving new builds that have been discovered. First, it was the Frostfire Gauntlet Rush, which gave Senna the initial boost, and now it's a Black Cleaver second, which has propelled her into OP tier. Frostfire into Black Cleaver provides Senna with so much durability. Since Senna's passive provides her with free crit and damage, you really don't lack offensive capabilities while being extremely difficult to take down. It's really just the best of both worlds for Senna right now, as she's a ranged tank who can pump out loads of DPS. You even take Grasp as the keystone to have a much stronger laning phase and become even tankier with stacks. So if you've considered picking up some Senna support, now is one of the best times to do so. Another riser on the support list for mid-patch has been Soraka. The Shurelya's changes are extremely broken on Soraka. Whenever you empower or protect a teammate, Shurelya's provides you with a burst of 25% move speed, and since Soraka has such a short cooldown heal, this passive can be procced continuously throughout fights. It's actually super disgusting as to how much utility the item can bring now, and it makes it so much easier to kite around. If you're a support main and want some free wins this patch, then Shurelya's Soraka is the way to go, as she'll be moving into S tier. Following suit with Soraka and flying into S tier is Janna. Like Soraka, there's not much more to say other than rush Shuralias and enjoy your endless amount of wins. Senna, Leona, Thresh, and Lulu will each lock down a spot in OP tier. Sona is another enchanter to really keep your eye on, as her ability to abuse Shuralias is just as strong as Soraka and Janna. The best low elo support carries include Brand, Leona, and Senna. To retain a little of your sanity, banning out Leona, Morgana, or Thresh will help that. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below. That's going to be all for this one, guys. You should now have a great read on the meta for 11.8 to give you that extra edge up. To stay up to date with all our future content, don't forget to drop a sub. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and have a great day.